Okay, folks, welcome back. You know how we do these deep dives, right? Well, this time we're going way deep into some pretty surprising stuff about heart health.
Yeah, it all started with this question that just kind of stuck with me. It's like, why would doctors ever feel like they have to prescribe statins, even if maybe they're not totally sure it's the best thing? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So, this document we dug up, it's called a Document Sense Title 15.txt. And wow, it really makes you think. Apparently, there's this whole connection with statins and this nutrient called CoQ10 and a bunch of other meds you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. This document, it lists 10 classes of medication that can actually deplete your CoQ10 levels. We're talking about like regular, everyday prescriptions here. Things like blood pressure meds, diabetes meds, even some kinds of contraceptives.
Contraceptives?
Uh,
Wait, really? Huh. I always thought those were like pretty much side effect free. Yeah. Well, see, that's part of the issue, right? We get so focused on what meds can do for us right now that we don't always see the whole picture, the long-term stuff. And the thing about CoQ10 is it's super important for your cells to make energy, especially heart cells.
Okay, so back up a second. Okay, remind me what CoQ10 is exactly. I know it's important, but sometimes I get all the science-y terms jumbled up.
Okay, no problem. So basically, imagine this. CoQ10 is like a key player in this thing called the electron transport chain. It's a really complicated process, but it happens inside the mitochondria of your cells.
Yeah.
Tiny little power plants.
Mitochondria. That rings a bell.
Right. And that's where your cells make energy. CoQ10 basically helps move electrons around. It's kind of like a delivery truck. And that keeps everything running smoothly so your cells can make this stuff called ATP. That's like the fuel your cells run on.
Gotcha. So it's like the oil in your car engine, making sure everything moves smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got it. And what this document is suggesting is that certain medications might be like throwing a wrench in the gears, slowing down that whole energy production thing. And that can really affect your heart because it needs a ton of energy to work right.
Ah, okay, I see where you're going with this. So that's where the statins come in.
Bingo. The document says doctors are often kind of pushed to prescribe statins even if they don't think it'll work that well for everyone. It's like a double whammy because statins are meant to lower cholesterol, which we usually link to heart disease, but then they can also make that CoQ10 depletion even worse.
So some doctors, they're stuck in this weird spot where they practically have to prescribe something that might actually be adding to the problem.
Exactly. That's the whole ethical dilemma this document is talking about. And
Yeah.
it gets even more complicated because the document actually questions the whole idea that cholesterol is the big bad wolf when it comes to heart disease.
Whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
Now that's what really caught my eye too. I mean, we've all been told for years to watch our cholesterol, right? But what if it's not that simple?
Right. That's what makes this so interesting. Like, what if we've been so focused on cholesterol that we've missed other things that might be even more important for a healthy heart?
Okay, so like what? Does the document actually give any examples of those other things?
Oh, yeah. It talks about stuff like chronic inflammation, for example,
Yeah.
and oxidative stress. Even something called insulin resistance. They're all pretty complicated, but basically they can damage your blood vessels, and that can lead to heart problems.
So it's not that cholesterol doesn't matter at all. It's just maybe it's only one part of a bigger problem.
Exactly. And this is where we really need to start thinking differently about heart health. Maybe instead of just trying to lower cholesterol all the time, we should be looking at these other things too. Maybe they're the real root of the problem.
Wow. Okay, so I'm hearing you say we should definitely be aware of how some medications can affect our CoQ10 levels.
Yeah.
And we can't just blindly accept this idea that cholesterol is the only thing that matters for our hearts. Makes me think about what else I should be doing to keep my own heart healthy.
Absolutely. And this is why it's so important to talk to your doctor. Really have an open and honest conversation. Ask them about the long-term effects of any meds you're taking, even if they don't seem related to your heart. See if there are any nutrients you might be missing out on. And don't be afraid to ask about different ways of thinking about heart health. There might be other things you can do to address those underlying issues we talked about.
Wow, this has been a real wake-up call for me. So to wrap things up, it seems like this deep dive has totally flipped the script on how we think about heart health. We learned that certain medications can actually deplete something called CoQ10, which is essential for your heart to function properly. And we even started to question this whole idea that cholesterol is public enemy number one. Turns out there might be a lot more to the story. Makes you wonder what other health facts we take for granted that might not be the whole truth. What seems like simple advice could actually be hiding a much bigger and more complicated reality.
Definitely something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.